Both Melvin Cravitz and Adrian Daulby died trying to defend their synagogue, killed in an act of hatred but loved by those who knew them. Adrian's family said he was a hero and tragically lost his life in the act of courage to save others. He was a beloved brother, loving uncle to his 4 nieces and 1 nephew, and a cherished cousin. The family is shocked by the tragic sudden death of such a lovely, down-to-earth man. Sentiments echoed outside his home today, where neighbours said he was generous and kind.
He was a great guy, fantastic guy, good neighbours, was always helpful for everyone. He was, all the children in the street was love him so much.
Today, Greater Manchester Police said Adrian's death may have been caused by a police gunshot. A tragic and unforeseen consequence, they said, of their urgent efforts to stop yesterday's attacker. Urgent not least because of the bomb vest he appeared to be wearing, which police confirmed tonight was fake. They said 2 worshippers suffered gunshot wounds. They were behind the door trying to prevent the killer from getting in.
He just wasn't going to let him in, and he was blocking the door the entire time and making sure he couldn't enter at all.
Uriel Finley's dad Yoni is in hospital after being shot in the chest. His injuries are not life-threatening.
He's a hero. He stopped loads of deaths from happening, and I hope he knows that.
His selfless bravery contrasts sharply with the attacker Jihad Al-Shamie, who detectives now say may have been influenced by extreme Islamist ideology.
He shouted, "This is what they get for killing our children."
Alan was inside the synagogue.
He then tried to pick up plant pots that we had at the bottom of the steps, and he was smashing those plant pots against the glass to try and get in.
Their actions couldn't save Melvin Cravitz, who was there as a security guard. His family said tonight he would do anything to help anyone. He was so kind, caring, and always wanted to chat and get to know people. He was devoted to his wife, family, and loved his food. His neighbours told me he embodied their community.
He was a really good neighbour, and he was acting like he's the family member of this whole street.
He had the common courtesy for everybody, irrelevant of your race, religion, creed. And to be honest with you, that's the majority of the people around here.
This afternoon, in the pouring rain, hundreds of people attended a vigil close to the synagogue. But grief and solidarity turned to anger when the Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy spoke.
One people, one united kingdom.
Accusing the government of failing to prevent pro-Palestine marches last night and this weekend. After an attack fuelled by a rising tide of anti-Jewish hatred, this is a community feeling not just upset, but under siege. Ben Chapman, News at 10, Manchester.
Well, we can get more now on that latest update from Greater Manchester Police, which we've had in the past hour and a half. Jonathan Brown is in Manchester for us tonight. And just bring us all those details, Jonathan, if you would.
Well, this is the first time that police have actually said what they believe might have motivated this attacker. Jihad Al-Shamie was a 35-year-old British national of Syrian descent who was not known to the security services. But tonight, police have confirmed that he did indeed have a criminal history, including an arrest over an alleged rape for which he was on bail at the time of the attack. They've also said tonight that a total of 6 people have now been arrested on suspicion of terror offences after a man and 2 women aged between 18 and their mid-40s were detained. We've also had an update from the policing watchdog, the IOPC, in the last few hours. They've said that their investigation into the handling of this case will now look at whether police may have caused or contributed to the death of Adrian Daulby. They say they are treating the officers involved in this case as witnesses at the moment. Now, today we've also learned more about Al-Shamie from the people who knew him. We now know that he lived about a mile and a half from where we're standing at this cordon on a quiet cul-de-sac. We've obtained video footage from neighbours of the moment that that road was sealed off and raided by armed police yesterday afternoon. A number of neighbours have told us today that they had concerns about his mental state. One person in particular described him as a recluse. Now, earlier today, we also heard from Al-Shamie's family. His father, Faraj, posted a statement online saying that they strongly condemn this heinous act which targeted peaceful, innocent civilians. He said, "We fully distance ourselves from this attack and express our deep shock and sorrow over what has happened."
Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, the rabbi who had been leading yesterday's service in Heaton Park has described looking evil in the face as the knife-wielding attacker tried to gain entry to his synagogue. In his first interview, Daniel Walker told Paul of the chaos leading up to that moment.
So when I first arrived at the synagogue, there was some kind of incident around the gate. Someone was behaving suspiciously and aggressively, and the security guards and the community volunteers were trying to deal with it. So I knew that something was off, but we just thought it was a minor disturbance. So I went into the synagogue, the prayers began. Half an hour into the prayers, I heard an almighty bang from outside, shouting. Some of the community men came running in, asking us to close the back doors. I ran to the front at that point, and then, someone was trying to get in, waving a knife.
Did you see the attacker yourself?
Yes. Yeah. When he was trying to get into the synagogue, there was a large number of us who were trying to hold the doors. He was trying to batter his way inside, and throwing plant pots, trying to use his knife to get to the door, body slamming the door repeatedly.
Was the attacker saying anything to you at the time?
He, yes, I'm going to get you. He was shouting, threats.
Tell me about Adrian, because he lost his life, Adrian Daulby, by protecting the synagogue. What happened to Adrian?
He was holding the doors with us, and at some point there was shooting, and it seems something must have come into the foyer of the synagogue, because he was in there with us, and he was shot. Adrian was the kindest man. He was there every single Sabbath festival, and he was just so tremendously brave on that day. He ran to shut the doors at the front and at the back. I always knew he was a very, very special man, and on that day I saw what a special man he really, really was. He really was a hero.
And Melvin?
And Melvin also, the kindest, friendliest man, the kind of person you really want to know. His family man, he's married. One of the foundations that our synagogue is built on.
What are your feelings towards the attacker at this time?
I'm not willing to waste any of my headspace even thinking about him. He was evil, and I want to focus on goodness and holiness. He isn't worth me thinking about.
With the tension that there is at times between different communities because of what's happening in the Middle East, I just wonder whether you have felt safe and whether you had feared that something like this might happen.
We've definitely been feeling much less secure. It has been becoming more and more worrying over the last 2 years in particular. Yes, the level of hate which seems to be radiating towards us has been very worrying. I didn't think it would actually become something physical at a synagogue in England, never mind my synagogue in Manchester.
What do you think needs to happen now? What would make the Jewish community feel more secure or to find a way through this, do you think?
We all need to be better, holier, kinder. I think I looked evil in the face. We can't allow evil to win. And that goes to the granular level of every single one of us. We all need to be better in a very, very tangible way as a response to this.
Rabbi Walker, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Rabbi Daniel Walker speaking to Paul early today, and you can see more of that interview on ITVX. Well, as the rabbi said, there have been in Jewish communities growing fears for security, especially over the last couple of years. Yesterday, therefore, has left many shaken, but as one woman told us, not necessarily shocked, having long feared just this sort of attack.
Police officers standing guard outside synagogues across Britain. From Manchester to Leeds to London, security has been tightened at all Jewish sites. Today, the chief rabbi warned this deadly attack came after an unrelenting wave of hate against Jewish people.
We have to guarantee as a society that this awful, terrible attack will lead to what is good. Prevention, protection, but most importantly of all, what the citizens of this country are doing, how we are acting. We need to be more responsible in terms of creating a future of genuine, peaceful social harmony.
And there is a sense of resilience here, but there is fear too. This Jewish supermarket is close to where the attack happened.
We're shaken, but we're not shocked. We've always had security in our schools and synagogues, and that's been a real necessity, unfortunately. There have been incidents of people trying to get into premises before.
Absolutely not safe, absolutely, absolutely. No doubt about that.
Each synagogue typically has its own security patrols, as well as fences, alarms, cameras. And today, across Greater Manchester and beyond, that security is being bolstered by a visible police presence. Vandalism at synagogues and anti-Semitic abuse across Britain has risen sharply since the October 7th attacks nearly 2 years ago. The fear that divisions in the Middle East would spill over to the UK have become a grim reality.
We also need to see proper, real action to understand why it is that we even need security at our synagogues in this country. We even need security for our Jewish children to be safe in school.
We feel very lonely, we feel very vulnerable right now.
For many, this attack feels deeply personal. This rabbi in Leeds said no British Jew should have to hide their identity.
We are proud British Jews who are not in control of what is going on elsewhere in the world. You know, people went to synagogue yesterday to celebrate and mark their faith, and they didn't come home.
What impact has this had on your family? I mean, how do you explain what happened to your children?
My 9-year-old daughter was physically shaking at what happened, saying to me things like, "Daddy, why do they hate the Jews? Daddy, this was Manchester. It's only half an hour or so from our home."
And this is a community that is grieving, that feels at risk inside their places of worship. Sarah Corker, News at 10.
Well, we can return to Paul now in Manchester. Paul, a really difficult Friday night for Jewish families gathering across the country tonight. But for the government, there are some really major challenges ahead on this.
Yeah, Julie, yesterday was an act of the utmost depravity and inhumanity. But if you wanted to design a terrorist act that could best exploit the fractious state of our society right now, then you may well fear it would be this, a suspected Islamist terrorist targeting innocent Jewish people, and according to what eyewitnesses were telling me today, linking his crimes to the war in Gaza. This leaves the government in a very precarious position tonight. I'm not surprised. The Deputy Prime Minister was heckled earlier today. Everyone I've spoken to here in the Jewish community over the past 36 hours or so has said they've been angry at the undisputed rise in anti-Semitism over the past couple of years. They blame the government for not doing enough to stem that tide. They point to the pro-Palestinian demonstrations of recent years too. We've seen a very intense debate around those, particularly since October the 7th. There'll be more of those tomorrow, actually. The government's asked them not to go ahead. But in that time, since October the 7th, we've also seen the increased polarisation of this discussion right to the extremities. On the one hand, for example, you've got people coming out to support the now proscribed group Palestine Action, hundreds being arrested. They argue unfairly. On the flip side, you've got the far right mobilising online now, trying to exploit this grievance, trying to exploit this terrorist attack. I think the one piece of hope we can take tonight is from the words of Rabbi Walker, this sense that he wants to be a better person in the face of what he witnessed yesterday. If he can contain his instincts, his emotions, regardless of what he has had to go through, then the government will be hoping the rest of Britain can too.